Okay, now, alright. I had some technical difficulties, so that's why I had to edit the video a little bit. So, yeah, yeah. Anyway, so, as you didn't really see when I was going to put this on. So, we unboxed the top case, and now we're just getting to the part where we are putting on the top case. And so, showing you this. For some reason, there's a little bit of a bend in this, but oh well. So, here's the keyboard itself, and we're gonna go ahead and put it in. This is actually the inside of the MacBook itself. If you have the hard drive and the RAM still in, you're gonna need to remove those because you could obviously damage those putting in the top case. So, yeah. As I said earlier, the previous top case on this MacBook had got liquid damage and caused the power button to misfunction, so it will not power up by the power button. So I replaced it. I got a new one, and to see if this will work. So let's get started. So as you see, there is a ribbon cable here. If you're watching this video right now while you are working on your MacBook and you have the top case with you and you see this white ribbon cable that's coming off, this is going to be really important because there's a connector right by this silver fan and also by this big connector right here, and that connector is for the keyboard so that the click, the trackpad, the keyboard, and the power button works. So let's get to that. Right, so I was having some trouble earlier putting the top case on because this was not properly taken off. So there's a little bit of bent parts, and it's kind of difficult to put this on because this ribbon cable is very short. So, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and insert this cable, and then we're going to get to snapping it into place. There, it worked better this way. Yeah. So we're going to get into screws and everything. I had to disassemble this earlier and I could not get that recorded. So, so I'm just doing this. Anyway, the view is kind of gonna be upside down. Maybe I can reverse it so you can see what I'm doing, but this might be just the right thing. Alright, let's see if this fits in. Having trouble with this. Let me go grab something real quick. There. There. So that's just barely fitting in for some reason. Barely fitting in. And also, what is very important is that to be very, very careful with this, because this thing is delicate. And also, the metal spaces where the holes are, you gotta be careful those, because those are sort of sharp. I cut my finger on one of these trying to get this into place. Take the other top casing off, and you gotta make sure all the holes on the side are aligned. This is very weird. Hopefully I got the right one. See, I'm gonna go ahead and compare that to the other top case that I have here, because who knows, I might have installed the wrong one. Things can get a little tricky when you're doing this job, so I'm just gonna compare, do a little compare thing, and it seems to be the same thing. So it seems to work. You know. Alright. For some reason it's just a bit difficult. Yeah. This is very but it's the same thing. Just checking. Oh, I understand why. I was told that the screws on the left side of the MacBook weren't supposed to be removed, so that's why it's kind of weird, like it is, because they're really going deep down, like inside the MacBook. Yeah, so let's get over to the other side. You gotta have the battery removed on the side, and you gotta make sure all the holes are aligned. Just they are, just that they're being a pain in the butt. Alright, gonna grab the screws, all the important screws, and get the ones we need. We need these screws and these screws. Alright, well, on this side, there's 3 holes where I'm pointing. It's 3 holes, you can see these. They're on each side of the RAM slots, and those, there's screws for those. And then, when you go around, you view from this side, there's screws along here. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, so there's about 10 screws on this other side, and you're supposed to remove the 2nd, 4th, 7th, and 9th screws for this. And then over here, the 2 outer screws, the inner screws can be left alone, but the outer screws, those need to be removed. And then there's screws here, and then there's screws on the side, and I'll show you those. Just get these other screws in. Let's see. I'm just gonna go with the side screws, the ones where the battery connector is, just to start. And then next I'll go with the other screws. I'll go ahead and get my tools out that I need. Hopefully these are right. Yeah, right. So you just take your screwdriver, whatever screwdriver you're using, just one that doesn't strip the screws. You just insert it Make sure the holes are aligned. Let's see. I notice these holes are more aligned. Yeah, you know, I'm just gonna start actually with this side over here where the RAM slots are, because it's sort of like the easiest. Yep, that should be like right. Yeah, these screws are a bit confusing. And what I've learned is you don't always drive the screws home. You drive them like halfway, and once you got all of them in halfway, then you just drive them all home. That's how it goes. One out of these screws is the shortest. Like, you get the two like medium-sized ones, and then you get the shorter ones. And I feel that might be where the shorter one is. So let's try the little one through here, just to check in case there's not something wrong with this. I guess that's okay. Drive to halfway. All right. Pretty much drive that screw home. Then next screw is okay. That seems secure. Then we can go ahead around the side, check if the holes align. They seem to be aligned. The best I can get them. Seem okay. Check the casing. There we go. Now we got these screws to work on. Let me grab the right screws here. Now, let me just check the view. This case wasn't off the whole time. There seems to be good. There. Now I just gotta put these screws in. This is kind of tricky because which one could be the longest? I'm just gonna start with the longest one. I keep feeling that the longest one is like the 9th screw. It's not putting any dents in the casing. I'm just gonna drag it all the way home and see. No dents. Yep, no dents. Alright. So I think we're good. So the longest screw is probably the 9th screw, or you can note the places that they're in. And you just reverse this process when you need to take the top casing off. Yep. Then we'll just tighten these down. Never mind about that. It's a bunch of crap. Wait. Right, so on these screws, we got 2 big ones and we got 1 small one. I believe that 1 small one goes right in here. Let's check. There. Now we got that. And it's always good to check the casing just to see if there's no dents. Overall, we have no dents or any indentations that yeah, that there's no screws. Then, kind of the hardest part is the side screws. Let's grab those. Yep, here they are. Okay, so 2 small ones, I believe, are on the left side of the computer. I have to say, this is kind of ridiculous that I'm kind of basing this stuff on feelings, but I mean, I'm not really sure, but it's working right now. Yeah. There. So So we're gonna start with the back, because I know the back, I barely remember this, but the back, the inner holes are the longer screws and the outer holes are the shorter screws. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put those in. Let's see. We just need to find screws that are right size each, and then put the ones together that I like the shortest. Screws are kind of magnetic for some reason. Alright, there. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in. Just to let you guys know that all you need for tools is a Phillips head screwdriver. Any type, just has to be, you just gotta test the Phillips head screwdriver just to see the size, because you could possibly strip these screws, and if you strip them, then that is not good. So there, and then just maybe some pliers, like plastic pliers. I would not use metal when taking the keyboard, getting the keyboard up, because it's damaging. It could break plastic. I know that the keyboard plastic is very, very like brittle. It's made out of very, very brittle material. I'm checking the time. Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock around where I am. Yeah, my cat likes to moan a lot. Just put these screws in. Yeah, so the two, you gotta get the two biggest screws, line them, make sure to check the same size. Then you gotta get some, like, the medium-sized screws, and just make sure they're about the same. They're small, but they're about the same, and it should be simple for you. There's also other repair guides that you can go to, as you probably know. I'm the one that just likes to make the video, you know, not have to speed up everything, you know, because I find speeding up the video, like, especially when it's like a repair guide, it's very difficult for me, because it's not really helpful, because you don't know where to put the screws and all this stuff, and, you know, so I'm just taking it slowly, steady. Now I'm using some of my memory to get this done. The speakers are back here. Oh boy. Yep, so the right side are the these two small ones are the left side, which you're probably not going to be taking those out. But the last set of screws are the ones you need for this side. You just gotta hold it down, put them in. And make sure to always remember, don't drive one home and then put the other one in and drive it home. It's good just to have them equal, then drive them in. And always make sure your holes are aligned. And I have to say this MacBook is kind of gonna be not so great. I barely got a click, but okay, that's good enough. Just testing. And then over here on this side, we'll make sure to line the holes and put in the screws. Might take a little more work on this side because I'm not sure, this side's a little weird. Set aside. Well, you know what? I might just figure out these screws later, and yeah, I might just figure them out later, and now I'm just gonna go ahead and put the bezel in, and the RAM, and all that. And it's very simple. So the bezel's in here, seated in here. And then you're just supposed to undo these 3 screws here and take that out, and then you pull these back and the RAM pops out. So you're going to go ahead and slide our 250 gigabyte drive in place. We're going to fold that tab back. Then we're going to install our RAM. Someone took off the RAM installation sticker there. You always got to install them with the label upside down so they're like this, with the pins right here. If you could barely see that, then you just got to push them in and make sure they're secure. There. Now we just put in the bezel. And it might be a little difficult. Just gotta secure one. And usually with screws, if you secure one, then you're able to secure them all. Drive them halfway, and then drive